It was just after 9:30 a.m. on April 11, 1986. South Florida's quiet suburban streets, lined with palm trees, modest homes, the hum of daily life, were about to erupt into chaos. A stolen black Chevrolet Monte Carlo screeched to a stop on Southwest 82nd Avenue. Moments later, 8 unmarked cars filled with federal agents surrounded it, and then it began. In just 5 savage minutes, over 140 rounds would be fired. 2 FBI agents would lose their lives, 4 more would be critically wounded, and the future of American law enforcement would be rewritten. This isn't just a story about a shootout. It's about what happens when preparation meets chaos, when systems break down, and when human beings, trained, disciplined, mortal, face the raw unpredictability of violence. Let's rewind to late 1985. Miami-Dade County was gripped by fear. A string of armored car robberies, bank heists, and cold-blooded murders dominated the headlines. The suspects, 2 men, Michael Lee Platt and William Russell Matix. Both were former Army veterans. Both operated with eerie calm and military precision. They stole cars, used high-powered rifles, and killed without hesitation. To the FBI agents chasing them, they seemed like ghosts, appearing in daylight, vanishing into thin air. But one thing soon became clear: this would not end quietly. Inside the Miami field office, a team was assembled. Special agents Benjamin Grogan, a 25-year veteran, and Jerry Dove, one of the Bureau's rising young stars. They were dedicated, skilled, brave, but their gear and tactics weren't built for what was coming. On the morning of April 11, 1986, the agents believed they had a lead. Platt and Matix's stolen Monte Carlo had been spotted. The team prepared for a rolling stakeout, hoping to stop them before another robbery. But what unfolded next would become one of the deadliest gunfights in FBI history. At 9:35 a.m., the Monte Carlo was sighted. Agents Grogan and Dove followed in tandem. Others moved in to box the suspects. A collision, metal against metal, tires screeching. The suspect's car was forced off the road. Then, gunfire. From the passenger window, Michael Platt raised his Ruger Mini 14 rifle and unleashed hell. Bullets ripped through car doors and windshields. Agents dove for cover, some behind vehicles, others pinned down in the open street. Grogan and Dove, trapped in their car, returned fire, but within seconds, both were struck. Grogan took a fatal round to the chest. Dove was hit multiple times, one shot ending his life instantly. Across the street, chaos reigned. Agents McNeil, Mireles, Hanlon, Manauzi, Orantia, and Risner fought back as best they could. Several were hit. Some lost their weapons in the crash. Agent Manauzi never fired a single shot. His gun was thrown from his hands on impact. Still, they fought. Agent Edmundo Mireles, bleeding and barely conscious, refused to quit. He dragged himself towards the suspect's car, raised his revolver, and fired once, twice, 6 times. One bullet pierced Platt's chest, shattered his spinal cord, and brought the fight to an end. The entire shootout had lasted less than 5 minutes. Over 140 bullets fired, 2 FBI agents dead, 4 more wounded, both suspects killed at the scene. In the aftermath, the Bureau faced a grim truth. They were outnumbered? No. Outgunned? Absolutely. Investigators studied every moment, every misfire, every wound, every bullet casing. The conclusion was undeniable. The agents' standard revolvers and shotguns simply didn't have the stopping power needed to counter rifles like Platt's. As one report put it plainly, we had the numbers, but not the firepower. That single realization reshaped American policing. The FBI began phasing out revolvers for semi-automatic pistols. Body armor was upgraded. Tactics were rewritten. Police agencies nationwide learned from those 5 brutal minutes in Miami. But change always comes at a cost. No amount of new equipment could bring back Benjamin Grogan or Jerry Dove. Their families, their colleagues, the surviving agents, all carried scars that went far beyond the physical. Agent Mireles later spoke of his guilt and pain of taking a life, even in defense. Because when the gunfire stops, the noise doesn't end. It just moves inside you. And what of Platt and Matix? They too were human, once soldiers, perhaps driven by desperation, arrogance, or delusion. Whatever their reasons, they made choices that morning that sealed their fate. The 1986 Miami shootout remains one of the most studied confrontations in law enforcement history, not just for its tactics, but for what it reveals about us. It reminds us that control is fragile, that even the best trained can be caught in chaos, that in the blink of an eye, ordinary life can collapse into tragedy. So the next time you hear the word shootout, pause, think beyond the headlines, think of the people, agents and suspects alike, caught in those split seconds between life and death. Because that morning in Miami wasn't just a firefight. It was a mirror reflecting our illusions of safety, of order, and of what it truly means to be human in a world where chaos can break through at any moment.